Iran's streets are once again alive with protest, echoing with the chants and footsteps of thousands who refuse to be silenced. The air is thick with tension and hope as people from all walks of life pour into the avenues, united by a shared sense of injustice and a longing for change. A new wave of dissent sweeps the nation, more powerful and widespread than before. The sheer scale of these demonstrations is unprecedented, with crowds stretching as far as the eye can see, their voices rising above the city's noise. What began as scattered outcries over economic hardship, rising prices, joblessness, and daily struggles, has erupted into a nationwide demand for political change. The movement now challenges the Islamic Republic's very foundation, as people call for freedom, dignity, and a new future. Demonstrations have ignited in over 280 locations, uniting Iranians from the bustling streets of Tehran to the quiet corners of rural provinces. This is not just a city movement, it's a national uprising, bridging divides of age, gender, and background. This uprising builds on the women, life, freedom movement of 2022, but now the calls for justice and equality ring out with even greater urgency and resolve. Women, once again at the forefront, inspire a new generation to stand up for their rights. The triggers are both political and economic, as frustration over corruption, unemployment, and lack of freedoms boils over. Many now openly call for the end of the theocratic regime, risking everything for a chance at a better life. The government's usual tactics of repression, tear gas, arrests, and violence, have only fueled the movement's momentum. Each crackdown seems to strengthen the resolve of the protesters rather than silence them. For millions risking their lives, the anger is rooted in decades of mismanagement, broken promises, and relentless repression, not foreign interference. The pain is personal, the stakes are high, and the desire for change is deeply felt across generations. The world watches, holding its breath, wondering if this is another tragic chapter in Iran's history, or the beginning of real, lasting transformation. The outcome remains uncertain, but the courage of those in the streets has already sparked hope far beyond Iran's borders. At the heart of the unrest is economic collapse. Hyperinflation, now at 52%, and a plummeting rial have devastated Iranian families, making basic necessities unaffordable. The government's subsidy cuts triggered overnight price spikes, turning anxiety into open revolt. Even Tehran's Grand Bazaar merchants, once regime loyalists, have joined the protests, signaling a crisis that cuts across class lines. Anger is compounded by the regime's spending on foreign conflicts, while millions at home suffer. The movement's rallying cry, "Not Gaza, not Lebanon, may my life be sacrificed for Iran," demands that Iran's wealth serve its own people. Economic despair has united Iranians in a powerful call for change. The protests' strength lies in their diversity. Youth, women, workers, and ethnic minorities have all joined forces, united by frustration with the regime. Women, inspired by the 2022 movement, are at the forefront, removing headscarves and leading chants for freedom. Industrial workers and ethnic minorities, long marginalized, have launched strikes and open rebellion. The regime can no longer dismiss the movement as fringe. It is a cross-section of Iranian society. Despite different backgrounds, protesters share a belief that the current system is beyond repair. This unity, forged in hardship, is the uprising's greatest strength. Into this turmoil steps Reza Pahlavi, the exiled son of Iran's last shah, who has long lived outside his homeland but never abandoned his vision for a free Iran. As unrest grows and the streets fill with voices demanding change, Pahlavi emerges as a prominent figure, calling on Iranians to unite in their struggle for a new future. He urges protesters to seize city centers, to make their presence felt in the heart of the nation, and to escalate their campaign for freedom and justice. His message is clear. Only through bold, coordinated action can the people hope to bring about real change. For many, Pahlavi's call has injected new energy into the movement, offering a focal point and a vision of coordinated resistance that had been lacking. His words resonate with those who feel lost amid the chaos, providing hope and a sense of direction. Among his supporters, Pahlavi is seen as a unifying figure, someone who can bridge divides and guide the country through a difficult transition. For them, he represents not just the memory of a different era, but the possibility of a new beginning, whether as a monarch or as a transitional leader. Yet his presence is not without controversy. The opposition remains divided. Many activists and ordinary citizens fear a return to autocracy and are adamant that Iran's future must be a democratic republic, free from any form of dictatorship. The old lion and sun flag, now waved by his supporters, has become a powerful symbol of resistance. It signals a rejection of the current regime and a longing for a national identity that predates the revolution. This ongoing debate over leadership, symbols, and the very direction of Iran's future is now central to the movement. It is a conversation that is both passionate and deeply personal for millions. The question remains, who will ultimately lead this movement, and what kind of Iran will emerge from the struggle? The answer is still unwritten as the nation stands at a crossroads, its people searching for a path forward. The uprising's heartbeat is in the streets. In Tehran, nightly protests echo from balconies and car horns, while crowds chant death to Khamenei in defiance. In Mashhad and Qom, even religious centers, protesters confront the regime's core. Hamadan's demonstrators wave the old flag, signaling a desire for total change. In Tabriz, ethnic grievances fuel burning barricades and clashes with security forces. Videos show unarmed protesters tearing down regime symbols and facing armed security. Each act of defiance, captured on shaky phones, testifies to the public's rage and courage. Iran's streets have become the stage for a nation's future. The regime's answer is brutal repression. Security forces, Revolutionary Guard, Basij police, have killed dozens, including children, and arrested thousands. Live ammunition, hospital raids, and mass detentions aim to crush dissent and instill fear. Detainees face torture, sham trials, and even death sentences. Supreme Leader Khamenei blames foreign enemies, while the president's calls for investigation ring hollow. Hardliners see any concession as weakness, but each act of violence only deepens public resolve. The crackdown may be backfiring, fueling the very anger it seeks to suppress. To hide its crackdown, the regime has imposed a near-total internet blackout. The goal: disrupt protest coordination and prevent images of violence from reaching the world. State propaganda fills the void, painting protesters as rioters and foreign agents. Yet, Iranians have become adept at bypassing censorship, smuggling out videos and eyewitness accounts. Satellite TV and diaspora networks amplify these stories, ensuring the world bears witness. Every leaked video counters the regime's narrative and inspires solidarity. The battle for information is now as critical as the battle in the streets. The uprising is defined by its bold symbols and slogans. Chants of death to Khamenei and not Gaza, not Lebanon, demand an end to the regime and a focus on Iran's own people. The pre-1979 lion and sun flag, waved in defiance, rejects the Islamic Republic's identity. Women, life, freedom remains a rallying cry, with women's acts of defiance at the movement's heart. These symbols unite protesters in a vision of a secular, democratic, and nationalist future. Each slogan and flag is a declaration: the old order must end. The language of revolution is now unmistakable in Iran's streets. The world is watching Iran's uprising with a mix of alarm, hope, and uncertainty. From living rooms in Europe to bustling streets in Asia, people everywhere are glued to their screens, following every development as it unfolds. The images of mass protests and government crackdowns have sparked intense debate and concern across continents, as many wonder what the future holds for Iran and its people. The United States has issued stern warnings to the Iranian regime, urging restraint and respect for human rights. American officials have condemned the violence against protesters, threatening diplomatic and economic consequences if the crackdown intensifies. Outside Iranian embassies, demonstrators wave American flags and demand global action, calling on world leaders to stand with the Iranian people. Israel, meanwhile, views the unrest as a potential turning point in the region, closely monitoring the situation for any shifts in power. At the same time, the Iranian diaspora has mobilized in cities around the world, organizing rallies and using social media to amplify the voices of those risking everything back home. These protests are unprecedented in both their scale and the clarity of their demands. For the first time in decades, Iranians from all walks of life are united in calling for the end of the Islamic Republic, marching together under the old national flag and demanding a new future. The regime now faces a legitimacy crisis deeper than any it has encountered before. Security forces are on high alert, and government buildings are surrounded by tension and uncertainty, as leaders struggle to maintain control in the face of growing public anger. The future remains deeply uncertain. Some fear a harsh crackdown or even civil conflict, while others dare to hope for real transformation. On the streets, clashes continue, and the world waits anxiously to see which path Iran will take. The courage and determination of the Iranian people have brought their nation to a historic crossroads. Each day, new stories of bravery and sacrifice emerge, inspiring solidarity both inside and outside Iran. The world's response in this critical moment will not only shape Iran's fate, but could also determine the stability of the entire region for years to come. The eyes of the world remain fixed on Iran, as history is written in real time.